All right, everybody. Good evening. We're back with the fifth edition of the Hammer the Heck Out of It podcast, hosted by myself, Alex Heck, and Jacob Ham. We're joined tonight with a very special guest, my former teammate, Alberto Castagnara. So just to introduce the man himself, he was a member of Team Italy from 2013 to 2021. He was awarded the Phil Mickelson Outstanding Freshman of the Year for Division II college golf. That was the 2017-2018 season. He was a two-time Division II All-South Region selection. He was the Sunshine State Conference Freshman of the Year, a two-time All-Conference player in 2017, 2018, and 2018, 2019. He was also a two-time semifinalist for the Jack Nicklaus National Player of the Year Award and achieved the highest ranking of 337 in Wagger. So Alberto, just want to thank you for coming on tonight, and want to just ask you how the transition has been from college golf to mid-am golf. And I know that you're trying to balance, working a full-time job with still getting some practice time in. So if you want to just share about that to start, I think that'd be a great place to begin.
I mean, before starting, I would like to appreciate and thank you for the kind words. I think we should do it more often because it makes me feel special. But no, great introduction. Getting to the point of your question, transitioning to the work place, it's tough when you go to stay 9 hours a day out there playing golf and basically chilling to stay on a desk behind a laptop for 10 hours. But to me, it was very good because I got to appreciate golf again. So I'm experiencing my golf 2.0 life. And so far, it's been good. I mean, I literally quit golfing from May to December, didn't hit a single shot pretty much. And now in 2023, my goal is to make it to the US Mid Amateur in September. I told Alex about this, and he's been laughing. But it's gonna be great to prove him wrong and send him a picture of me teeing up in Sleepy Hollow in September, and I can't wait to do it. So we'll see how that goes. So far, it's been great. Challenging to balance work and everything else with golf, but it makes it fun and more interesting.
And then if I can post a follow-up to that, it seemed like our time together playing college golf, you seemed to be like a range rat. You really loved just beating balls on the range, hitting the high balloon drivers. With a limited schedule and like time constraints now, are you finding yourself placing any more emphasis on short game or like any particular part of the game, or when you do have like an hour or two, are you trying to balance it within, all aspects of range work, short game, and getting on course?
Yeah, so I guess that's where things got much different because before I guess that's where the bad part of me was when I was in college that I never really practiced with a plan. So it was just, as you said, just going out on the sanely Lake Jovita driving range and just hitting balloons without any purpose, I would say. But now that I have time constraints, of course, I found myself that I have to figure out ways to improve efficiency. So I haven't really been in a driving range in so long, I think. I don't even remember the last time I paid for a bucket of balls. So most of the times I go practice, which is very few times, by the way. I just focus on short game or putting, and then I found a great group of people to play with on Saturday, and we play skin games, which makes it exciting. Sometimes you win, most of the times I lose, but it's part of the game. But it's fun because it makes it challenging and at the same time it's rewarding because at the end of the day, it's always good to make some more money on the weekend and pay for the green feed stuff. So, but yeah, I would say short game is what I'm been focusing on the very few times I go practice.
Alberto, I kind of want to get into your start in golf. I know in Italy you have the Molinari brothers. I'm sure there's a few other Italian golfers who have made it to the tour level, but I remember vaguely, I think Francesco was talking about in an interview one time how there's just not that many courses in Italy, or
Yeah.
not as many as other countries. I was wondering how you got into golf and if it a little more difficult for you whenever you first got into it, having to like look for courses a little harder?
Yeah, so I never really had a chance to play other sports other than golf because both my parents play golf. My brother is a golf professional. He played college at TCU. My cousin is a golf coach. Actually, I think he coaches in California right now. Not even sure. My grandparents from both sides play golf, so I think I hit my first shot when I was 2 years old, and I never stopped since. But yeah, it's much different than here in the US. I think the course where I started was 20 minutes away from home, which was it's 9 holes, not good at all. And the course I'm a member now at I think it's 50 minutes away from home.
Hmm.
Uh, so it's definitely harder than, being here where you have 10 courses in 1 mile radius. Uh, but I was lucky enough that my whole family played. My brother is a great golfer too. So we've grown up together, challenging each other. Um, and then I was lucky enough to always play with people who were always good enough. One of my best buddies, Guido Migliozzi, is a full-time member on the European Tour. I think he has had 3 wins so far. So growing up with him, of course, it was always fun and challenging to play with. So even though it's a small country, we have some very good players that I had um, luck to grow up with, and I guess that's how I got better,
Hmm.
and that's how I got here.
I kind of want to ask, I mean, I know you've shared it with me a little bit before, but I think it would be interesting for everyone to learn. But so in 2016, when you came to St. Leo and like moved over to Tampa, can you talk about like how that journey was for you, totally picking up, moving, from your home country to America, and just share how you felt coming to a different country to attend? I mean, because you're not only golfing, but you're also, receiving an education in a totally different language, um, and meeting all new people. Can you kind of share about that transition and that process for you?
Yeah, absolutely. So in short story, it was horrible at first because I came over speaking very limited English. I remember back then the team I was part of were mostly Americans, which is completely different from what it is now, I think, Alex.
Mhm.
So I remember I was just sitting in cafe having lunch and dinner with them, and the craziest thing I had to do was just try to fake laugh whenever anybody else was laughing because I didn't want to look like an idiot out there not picking out whatever they were saying. But it was a lot of sorry, can you repeat? I don't understand. I'm sorry, I'm Italian, blah blah blah, whatever. So that was on the lifestyle, and academic wise, it was all pretty much the same thing. I couldn't understand anything that my professor were telling me, so it was a grind. But I would say I'm gifted academic wise, so that was never an issue. And then we had golf. So I started in January for the spring season, and I found out in March that I wasn't eligible. So I was, I wasn't eligible for that semester because my credits didn't transfer or something. I'm not even sure why I wasn't eligible. But when I got the news, I was like, oh damn, here we are, like another bad news on top of bad news. Um, but at the end of the day, it was actually a blessing because I was able to redshirt, gain another year. It gave me a semester where I could get used to the new life I was living. Uh, so I can say that I was very lucky not to be eligible, so I didn't have to focus on golf as much as I would have had if I was eligible and I was playing tournaments. So it allowed me to gave time to myself to get used to the new life, get used to the new way of living, making new friends, and found myself ready to be competitive for the next fall, which I mean was great because I ended up being the freshman of the country. So yeah, at first it was shocking, it was horrible, but turned out to be great. So I'm grateful for the experience.
And you ended up spending like 5.5 then years here then, or close to 6 years at St.
Yeah.
Leo. Okay.
Yeah, I think I had the longest career in St. Leo history.
Yeah, and for
Yeah.
everyone listening, I mean, I can still speak on it today. You've been gone for almost a year, and I mean, the guy's just a walking legend around this place or within the golf within the golf men's and women's golf programs anyway. So, I mean, your legacy and the stories definitely live on.
Yeah,
Um,
hopefully it's a good legacy. There's definitely some funny story going around on campus, but it's part of the business, I would say. So
yeah,
yeah, and I was great. I loved St. Leo.
yeah.
Great school, great time. So yeah, I'm very grateful for my experience there.
As far as like a little bit going back to the golf in Italy, what do you like identify as like differences between courses in southern US, like in Florida? And I know you said, or Alex might have mentioned that you're in Texas now compared to courses in Italy. Like, what's the difference there?
That's a good question. Believe it or not, the courses in Italy are much more old school.
Hmm.
Because I think most of the courses have been built in the 60s, and there's not many new courses that you can play in Italy like built or the last decade. So it's more that you have to shape the shots off the tee. Greens are smaller, so you have to be very accurate with your wedges or irons. And so it's more like that back home. While here, the limited courses I played, it's more if you hit it long off the tee, then and you're decent 100 yards in, then you can go low. Like you can go very low. So I mean I think that's why one of the reasons why I've been so successful in college is because I hit the ball a mile and then I'm decent with my wedges and putting. So but yeah, I would say golf is more old school back home. A lot of irons off the tee, a lot of weird lies, a lot of weird pin positions. While here it's more flat. You hit a bomb, then you have a wedge, and if you're good, you bring the score home. If you're bad, just try to get better.
I think that kind of like speaks into like the modern like American golfer like DeChambeau or somebody who like he did that at the US Open. He just everybody was going to play out of the rough that week. He just hit it 30 yards farther than everybody else, so he had wedge in instead of 7 iron. Um, Whereas when you go over to like the Open Championship in Europe, guys that hit it shorter, they can find their way up on top of the leaderboard because they're used to that style of golf where irons matter, your approach shots matter, and all that stuff. So I
Yeah,
think
you said
that,
it perfectly.
yeah.
I think course management in Europe is more of a big deal than it is here. Again, I haven't had the chance to play many courses here. I only played the courses that I played while I was at St. Leo.
Mhm.
But that's the way I think about courses here.
Alberto, I kind of want to talk about you shared always a lot with me your kind of like biomechanics journey and just like the time that you were able to spend with obviously the famous biomechanics guy. I don't know the word but mechanics, sports scientist, Dr. Kwan.
Oh,
Can you kind of talk about or like share anything you can remember from that experience and then just touch on like the technology that was available there? Because obviously this is, stuff that we definitely wouldn't have seen 5, 10, 15 years ago, and how much that's able to like advance the game in the way that instructors can teach technique and new philosophy.
yeah, absolutely. So Dr. Kwan, to me, it was the game changer, meaning that I went there my freshman year when I was redshirting, so I wasn't doing anything. I wasn't doing much at the time, and I went there with my brother and my coach at the time, and we went there pretty much not knowing what to expect or what to get back from him. And he wasn't at the beginning of his career, but he wasn't nearly as popular as he is now. So we went there. He's a professor at some university in Texas. I think somewhere around Houston or some places around there. So we got there, and there was this massive room surrounded by cameras all over the ceiling and the wall, and there was just this mat sitting on the middle of the room. So we're like, all right, well, that's awkward, but let's see what happens. So next thing we know, he told us to take our clothes off, only underwear, and he started putting sensor all over my body. I mean, I had probably like 100 sensors all over my body. Next thing you know, he told me like, yeah, just warm up and be ready because in 5 minutes I'm gonna hit balls. So I was like, all right, perfect. So I warm up, get on the mat. He hands me the driver, and he goes, okay, no, just swing as hard as you can. I was pretty good at it, so I probably hit like 10 balls, like no more than that. So I hit 10 balls. My brother did the same. Then we literally sat on a room for probably like an hour and a half, drinking coffee because it was early in the morning. And then after, again, like I think it was 2 hours, he came back with this. He was like, oh, he came back to the room and he told us like, all right, let's go to the meeting room where we're gonna explain the findings. And he went on with this presentation and he explaining us data, graphs, lines that I mean, if you're a normal person, you would be like, what is this guy talking about? And I think he went on presenting for a good 3 hours, and he went into like very specific details that, I mean, thinking about now, it was probably like too much. But it was very cool because, he didn't just present us data without any story behind. He went into details, and then from these details, he gave us specific feedback to what those data refer to the swing and how it would affect the outcome of the swing and what to change. So after the 3 hour presentation, we went back to the mat and we did exercise with, I think were kettlebells, the rope, which Alex know perfectly that it's my favorite exercise to do on the golf course. Which in basically he spent a good 2 hours explaining us what the data showed and what the data would suggest to change on the swing to get the better outcome. And so after that, I got back to St. Leo and I wasn't playing, so I could just practice and practice and practice. And I don't know if it's coincidence. I don't really believe in coincidence. So to me, it was clearly the fact that I put in the word that he told me, went back home. First tournament I played, I lost in the playoff. Then I played the Italian Championship. I finished third. And then in the British Amateur, I shot 29 the first front line of the British Am and end up shooting 65 and 68. Second on the stroke play qualifying. And that summer it went on to be the best summer I ever played golf. So to me, it was clearly the fact that I got there. He told me what to work on based on what he saw and the data showed. Um, so it was definitely worth for in my case. But for example, in my brother's case, it was a little different. He didn't feel the feedback he got him that better as I did. So I guess it's a personal thing, but to me, it was the coolest thing I ever done in golf. So I'm very grateful to have had it done.
So, I mean, just from your opinion, then, like, do you think it's a good thing that we're seeing in the golf world? Just like it's so much more like technologically driven nowadays versus just like dropping balls on the course and finding a way to get it in the hole. I mean, would you categorize yourself as an analytical player?
I used to, um, for sure, and that's probably the reason why I started hating golf. Now that I'm more like a field player, I start enjoying it more. And I think the two things must coexist, meaning that if you want to be on top of the game, you can avoid technology and all the benefits that they bring to the game, but you can't skip the feeling part because at the end of the game, you're not a robot. We live off feelings, and if you can't understand them, there's no way you're going to be a good player.
Well, Jacob, do you have anything else until we get into, I think we want to get into some like some more fun questions. I know I wanted to discuss your arm lock putting, but I don't know if Jacob has anything else he wants to add before if we get into that, and then
I was about to ask that too, because you had mentioned that he's using the arm lock, and I know from your bio and that you're a pretty tall dude. You're like 6'4", right? I mean, do you feel like that's better for you because you don't like it's not something you have to like worry about getting a putter like your perfect height so that your hands can be at the right height and all that, or like do you like the arm lock better than traditional?
Yeah, so I switched to the arm lock because unfortunately I went through some times where I had the word that starts with Y. I'm not gonna say out loud on a podcast because that's bad luck. But it's definitely helping. I was lucky enough. I had a person. Shout out to TPG Golf. He's a coach of mine, a very good family friend. He's been a father figure to me. Coach Rob Bannon, that he helped me out figuring out the arm lock. And ever since I got it, I've not been the best putter, but I definitely got better. So it has definitely helped my game. Definitely helped my putting. There's still room for improvement for sure. But I can definitely say it's much easier than traditional, you know, putting. You just put it to your arm, trust it, and there's much less room for messing it up.
I can understand that. For a while, I went to the wrist lock grip that Superstroke has, and I mean, it's not a full arm lock, but it definitely helped on short range putts because I felt like there was no manipulation of the face of the putter, which is great.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
on short putts myself too, I have had the Y word before, and
yeah.
I remember standing over like 3 footers, being like, there is no chance this ball finds that hole. So I know exactly what you're talking about. And then whenever I switched to wrist lock, they definitely went in a lot more consistently, but it's good. Yeah.
No, yeah, it's when you find yourself in a tough spot like you and I found ourselves, like a drastic change like the wrist lock or the arm lock. I think it helps to heal, if it makes sense,
Hmm.
because it takes your mind off to all the bad things that you've been going through, and it's something new.
Yeah. And
So even if it,
you believe in it again. Like you believe that you're
yeah,
going to make it again, which is good.
exactly. Like even if it's not the final solution, it's definitely something that you can try out. And if it doesn't work, you can just always go back to whatever you like.
Exactly.
I'll say when you putted against me with the arm lock, I mean that hole must have looked massive because you were just pouring in putts when we would have our match play
What are you
little
talking about?
events.
Like what match are you talking about?
You can go ahead and take the floor and go into if you
Are
wanna
we
if you wanna
are
go
you talking
into
about
that.
that match? Are you talking about
Absolutely.
that match?
Yeah, we can talk about
So
that.
so Jacob, here's I don't know if Alex ever told you, but one of
I
the
didn't.
okay, perfect. So I told him I was gonna come on the pod if he allowed me 5 minutes to explain this story. So the first time I met Alex, it was at St. Leo. He came for a visit, and he told me, you know what, I'm a member of Bel Air, so if you're ever down to come, if you wanna come play, I'll host you. So whatever, perfect. He ended up go somewhere else. Pissed me off, but whatever, his choice. So thank God. Then after a year, he came back to St. Leo, and we became best buddies. And long story short, when was it? 2 years ago? Last year?
It was like it had to be Thanksgiving. It was around Thanksgiving time of 2021, I
Yeah,
believe. Yeah.
2020. So Thanksgiving 2021. He told me, dude, let's get ready because we're gonna go to Bel Air and we're gonna have our match. So it's like perfect. Just sign me up, and I'll take you down whenever. So whatever, we ended up setting up the match for Thanksgiving 2021. Next thing you know, one of my friend, she came visiting for like a couple of days. So the day we had the match, which could have been Sunday of Thanksgiving, whatever it was, I had to take her to the Tampa airport from St. University, which is like 50 minutes away, an hour slash an hour at 3 a.m. in the morning. So I drove her there. And then it was I was in between, staying there, go to Bel Air, get some rest because I have a huge match ahead of me, or like just go to St. Leo and take a nap there. So whatever. I went back to St. Leo. Our tea time was at 12:20, Alex.
Yeah. Yeah.
Our tea time was at 12:20. I actually remember it perfectly. 12:20. So whatever. I go back to St. Leo, drive to Bel Air, which is an hour and 20 minutes for St. Leo. Show up at the club at 11:57. Get to the range at 12:01, and I saw Alex on the very decent hitting balls, pounding driver down the range. And then as soon as I'm stepping into the driving range, I saw him like smiling at me, getting the bag and start walking into me. And I go, "What are you doing?" And he goes, "Man, the range is closed." And I go, "What do you mean?" And he goes, "Yeah, man, the range is closed. They're shutting it down because they have to do some maintenance." And I go, "But dude, like I've just seen you hitting like 10 drivers. Like, what are you talking the range?" He goes, "Yeah, man, the range closed at 12." And I go, "Oh, all right, perfect." So whatever. So I had to wake up at 2:50 in the morning to drive my friend to the airport. Then I show up to the course. The guy doesn't even allow me to hit balls on the range. So whatever. That's how you want to play it. Let's play it this way. So long story short, I step on number one tee box. Short par four, slightly dog leg left with OB on the left, and I think it's OB on the right.
Mm-hmm.
Not even sure. 2 iron, full hosel. Alex starts dying laughing. I've never seen the kid laughing that hard in my life. So I'm like, "Dude, like, why are you laughing?" He goes, and he goes like, "Yeah." He started going like, "Yeah, man, like you're holy." I was like, "Don't bet on it, NCAA. We're playing for push-ups. Let's say that." He goes, "Yeah, you're gonna owe me so many push-ups, blah, 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 blah." He was running his mouth like I've never seen anyone. Next thing you know, I end up birding two, birding three, birding four, birdie five, me 20 push-ups, and it was the best feeling I ever had on a golf course.
Yeah, I do remember that. I remember. I mean, if I can say it from my perspective, yeah, I wasn't overly confident. Young sophomore who had just transferred in. I thought I was you know
Yeah,
I thought I could take you down, especially being at a venue where I was familiar with, and I think you like to tell a story. You like
I
to tell
love
the
to tell a
story in a
story.
way that make you like to twist it around though as well
Well,
and
I mean,
tell people that
did I
I
did,
like intended for you. Oh yeah, show up at 12 noon. The range will be open. You can just hit as many balls as you want. So yeah, that's a good but
I mean,
yeah.
I love to tell the story my way, but I'm also just saying facts, that we have witnesses that can, back up my story.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
all I'm saying is that what got you is that you got to that tee box thinking, that I'm Alex said I own the golf record at Bel Air West from the Reds, but we were playing for the Golds
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
day. So I
Yeah.
think that what got you. But
I will
this is great because now Belair redid the other course. So I told Alex, let's have a match on the other course. But ever since I beat him that day, he never invited.
I'll say from my perspective when after the first hole I have a 1-up lead, like excitement is soaring, hopes are high. And then as each birdie went in and I'm watching each birdie go in, it's just like it just dropped. And then at the turn, I was like, I mean, I tried to make a comeback, but it's just not happening. I mean, just run into a brick wall that day. So yeah,
Yeah,
that was tough. But
that
yeah,
was
I'm glad
great.
you got to
That was by far my greatest day in golf, and I'm glad you were part of it.
yeah. Well, thank you. Yeah. Um, But all right, Jacob, we can transition now. I know we like to like close the episode usually with a couple fun questions. So I think this should be good to get into those if you want to kick it
Yeah.
off.
Yeah, I always tend to ask the same one, but I'm interested to hear yours. Who would be your dream foursome if you had one round of golf, and where would you go play it at?
Would be a twosome, me versus Alex Heck, Belair West from the Golds, all in on everything we can bet on. And the second one would be probably Pebble Beach. Me, Antoine Beaupré.
You're going to Pebble Beach with Antoine Beaupré-Vachon.
Yeah, Shane Reynolds and Oliver Liddell.
I don't know who those guys are. Who are they?
Those are
Are
some
they
St. Leo golf
old
The,
legends.
teammates?
the yeah, those are my old teammates, and
Cool.
I mean those were my best buddies at St. Leo, other
What's the
than
game that day then? Is it you and
Mr.
Tony?
Alex.
What's the game that day at Pebble?
I think it had to be Wolf or Left and Right. I don't know if you guys ever played that game, but it's a funny one. Where basically you play each hole, the two most left versus the two most right. Um, I'm not gonna say what we were gonna bet on, but it would definitely be something interesting.
Cool.
All right, I got a question to wrap it up too. If you had to play a round of 18 holes with you're only picking 4 clubs in your bag, which ones are you taking? And putter's not included, so you can take putter, you cannot take putter.
I gotta go with driver.
Is that 4 clubs?
Yeah, 4 clubs. Yep.
All right, driver, putter, pitching wedge, 6 iron. Because I can cover pretty much every single yardage I want.
I didn't know necessarily you were going to take a putter. I thought you might have taken a 3-wood just to work with around the greens and that kind of stuff, but I don't know.
Yeah, I was thinking about that, but I'm not
To
gonna miss
putt
any
with,
greens.
maybe. I don't know.
I'm just gonna hit 18 greens and drain everything.
All right, well,
I love it.
Jacob, that's all I got. You got anything else you want to say to close, or Alberto, the floor is yours if you want to throw anything else in there. Anybody you want to shout out, anything like that?
We want to thank Alberto for coming on. We appreciate it.
Well, thank you so much for having me, guys. It's been a blast. Keep up the good work.
Yeah, yes,
And
sir. All right, hammer the heck out of it, guys. We'll talk to you later.